Hey guys, today we're going to talk about Three Rivers Manufacturing, TRM, my favorite USA made knife company, a company that I've been collecting since I first got in the game and learned about them from my brother Sobek Scooter. You guys might have seen him in chat. He's the one that introduced me to TRM, Three Rivers Manufacturing. They started Halpern Titanium Inc., I think in 1997. You can fast forward 25 years, and now they're a full knife maker, right? I think they've got like 2 flow water jets, burger float grinders, 2 Okamoto surface grinders, Makina wire EDM, 2 Swiss tuning machines, I think 25 CNC vertical machine centers. In 2014, TRM was kind of born and incorporated themselves as their own company, apart from Halpern Titanium, their parent company. And then in 2018, they released their first knife, the Neutron. I've got some Neutron II. Don't have a Neutron. And then in 2019, the Atom, and then a lot came from there. So what I wanted to do is kind of go through my collection, which is pretty extensive, starting with the oldest, a knife you can't get anymore on their site, but I picked it up on the secondary market on a trade with Pocket Metal. This is a TRM slip joint. This is the Atlas. And you guys might say, John, that's not a slip joint, that's a double D10. It is indeed a slip joint. It's got these titanium liners that actually push out like a spring, lock into place at half stop, and then lock open with that spring tension. So it's a little small, pocketable slip joint, kind of modern slip joint, made out of 20 CV, made like all Three Rivers Manufacturing knives are, with blade geometry being kind of at the forefront of what they are, and them being designed to be amazing cutters. So whether you're using this small knife to open materials, to cut down materials, they are very, very slicey, very, very nice. And the Atlas was one that I picked up kind of late, one I'd wanted because at the time I was into slip joints. But the first TRM I picked it up on a trade, and it came with kind of raggedy micarta scales. And I went through, guys, I had so many different TRM sets of scales. I gave a lot of them away to viewers. Some of the micarta ones I wish I still had, even though once I went to titanium, I wasn't going to go back. This is the Neutron II, probably one of my most favorite sizes of TRM knives. It's got thumb studs. It's got a 20 CRV blade. It is also very thin blade geometry, very slicey, and just very nimble. Small in the hand in terms of profile, thin. The blade stock is exceptionally thin. The knife size, we won't do a lot of measuring here, but if we were going to look at this next to a bug out, it's going to be a little bit smaller than the bug out. But for me, perfect sized little knife. What was my first TRM, I carried this thing forever and probably 5 different types of scales, because TRMs, you just have to remove these 2 body screws. You don't have to touch the pivot screw to take the scale off, so it's really easy to change them off. On the back side, you do have to take the clip and the 2 screws out, but you don't have to take your pivot or touch your pivot or your titanium liners. But this is the TRM Neutron II, which was my first, and I followed it up closely thereafter with the TRM Atom, the Neutron's big brother. This knife is a much larger knife. It's a 3.5-inch blade. Everything else proportionally is identical. A liner lock. This one started out with purple and black G10 scales. I think I still have those. And I'll put it through a lot of different cool scales and then settled on the titanium. And in hindsight, I wish I'd kept some of those scales just to be able to switch them out for some of the content I make with them. But the titanium's nice. It's hard to beat. Makes the knife feel super solid, which it does in G10. It also does in micarta. because you've got these titanium liners, you've got washers, you've got this thin, perfectly engineered 20 CV blade, and this knife just goes together great. Again, super thin blade stock, super slicey, as all of these will be. We'll try to see if we can make that piece of paper last through our little tour here. But that is a TRM Atom. Probably the longest of the TRMs in my collection in a folder. We'll kind of give that the caveat. And it's going to come in right at 8 inches. 20 CV, liner lock, banger. Then I got into the little TRMs. They're little nerd. So the first nerd was this nerd here. A little, I could have flipped that with my thumb if I wanted to really commit to it. This one's in Python micarta. I had some beautiful micarta for all these. It's a liner lock. It's got the blade that's very similar to the Shadow, which we'll look at in a second, but it's a 5th pocket carry knife. And then TRM was seeing that a lot of their customers were modding this with a blade hole. So they came out with a Holy Nerd, which I picked up because it made this knife really easy to flick. A great 5th pocket carry knife, USA made. This one's Magna Cut. This one's 20 CV. They've got a taller flat grind than their size looks on, which means they are both absolute laser beams. And they are little guys, so even though they're small in stature, they hold like a big knife and they will cut like a big knife. Any of the larger things you're needing to cut, whether it's cardboard, whether it's rope, these little guys are going to cut like their bigger siblings. But these are the TRM Nerds. I kept the OG in my collection, and this is one of the new Holy Nerds. I love them both. Blade stock's the same. The only difference is they made the difference in that cut and finished that cut out there. So moving on, we come to the one that I waited the longest for, the Shadow. And the Shadow's one that you could get in G10. You could get it in micarta. They had in a couple of different variations. Probably my favorite TRM in terms of being just a good box cutter because it's got that tall flat ground blade. 20 CV. I'm not a bar lock guy, but the ram lock that Three Rivers uses, TRM, is exceptional. I prefer a manual detent. The titanium is spot on, adds perfect weight to it. These knives cut like a dream. The titanium is my buddy's A to Z. I just wanted to borrow it from him because it was the only one I was missing out of the lot to show you guys, because for some reason you cannot get titanium scales for this. I've begged them, I've pleaded them to buy a set of titanium scales because I'm convinced I could do the installation because I've taken apart so many knives. They don't feel comfortable with it, so I don't push the issue. But the TRM Shadow, fantastic knife. Don't be discouraged if you don't see it that often. When they drop, they are available. That's how I got that one. You can also get them at some of the knife shows. Definitely well worth a look, well worth a hold, and definitely well worth a trial cutting because they cut great. Moving on, we come to the first fixed blade I experienced from TRM. And they were kind enough to send this to me to check out when I was rocking my channel. And this is the TRM Three Rivers Manufacturing Redline fixed blade or Redline camp knife. It has very nicely contoured micarta handles that just feel fantastic and lock your hand, your hand into that grip position there. You've got a nice thick 20 CV blade, very angular handle. This knife is going to come in at a total size of right at 9 inches with a 5-inch blade. But again, we talk about slicey, we talk about TRM in terms of food prep, in terms of working around a campsite, cleaning game, doing whatever you might need to do. I'd feel very comfortable with this knife on my pocket. It's a fantastic knife. It's the TRM Redline fixed blade. I think they call it the Redline camp knife. I like Redline fixed blade because I think camp knife sounds a little limiting because it does a lot more than just camp. And then we move on to the next iteration, the Bulldog, the TRM Bulldog, named after their bulldogs, their Frenchie bulldogs. Starting out with the OG Bulldog. The Bulldog is the size of the Neutron, contoured scales, just a little bit wider, does utilize the river lock, and this one utilizes a MagnaCut blade. A little bit thicker blade stock, but no less slicey because the grind is very, very slicey. So if we were going to look at this next to, say, our Neutron, you see that that Bulldog, hence the name Bulldog, does have a thicker blade, so it's going to be a little bit tougher, but it is a very slicey knife. You're not losing anything in performance. I think it's probably my favorite TRM, even though I'm not a Riverlock guy. It might not be my #1 favorite. It might be my #2, but it's really close. It is fantastic. And then TRM started hearing around, I guess, Texas Blade Show, I wish you guys would make a larger hole. I don't know who was recommending that. I'm fine with the smaller hole and like that it kept to the TRM logo size. However, this is fantastic. This one's 20 CV, and it has the elongated hole, which really gives you the ability to flip it from anywhere in that fuller or in that blade hole, and it snaps open. This one's 20 CV and G10. These guys you can pick up for under 260 bones, guys. You can get a knife like this, USA made, quality materials, made small batch, made very well. Super slicey, and the Bulldog is a little harder use because it is a little bit thicker. You can choose MagnaCut or you can choose 20 CV. I think the small hole's gone away. I think they're all going to be the larger hole, which again is an improvement in the overall operation of the knife. But as we move on, we come to a couple I saw at Blade Show. One was the Tagalong fixed blade, and one was the Neutron II frame lock. So the Tagalong fixie, to me, is perfection. It is an awesome small fixed blade. This one is in like a PSB, some kind of number. It's like a D2 metallurgical spray upgrade to D2, but this was just the first batch that they made to see how they were going to be received. The batch that's being run right now is being run in MagnaCut. It's a small, I want to say a 5-incher, maybe a little bit longer than 5 inches. 5 1/4 inch, little micarta handled, super sharp, slicey knife with a really nice taco leather sheath that comes with an ulti-clip. They also make a pancake sheath if you like me, to keep it in your back pocket. And my favorite, which is probably favorite even over my Bulldog, only because I love the detent of either a liner lock or a frame lock. But this is the Neutron II frame lock, where they took the Neutron II, one of my favorite liner locks of all time, because it is so slicey and it carries so well, and they gave it the frame lock treatment. So this one's in a coarse G10. You can tell my blade's got a lot of crap on it. Probably need to clean that. This one's in 20 CV. This one's in MagnaCut. The frame lock I thought was going to be a little bit thicker in terms of overall knife thickness, but in reality it's not. It's actually a little bit thinner. But they're just both fantastic knives. If you like a liner lock, you've got that option. If you like a frame lock, you've got that option. TRM knives, TRM Neutron, 2 fantastic knives. You're looking for something bigger, you've got the Atom, you've got the Shadow. Looking for something mid-size that's a hard worker, check out the Bulldogs. If you're a fixed blade guy like me and you like the little guys, you cannot lose with the Tagalong. Also, the Redline fixie is a banger. Little knives, Atlas is only available on the secondary market, but it is available. If you just got to be on the lookout for it and be willing to jump on it. And then the Holy Nerd you can grab. These are very, very economically priced. You do not have to go with titanium to make them super cool. Like I said, I wish I'd kept some of my Carta that I gave away because I didn't think once I went titanium I wouldn't go back. But guys, that's a walk through TRM's line, what TRM does, where they started, and they still are at Halpern Titanium Inc. But they are some of the kindest people. They make some of my favorite knives because I'm an urban EDC guy who likes to slice stuff. They like dogs. They're kind people. They've always supported the channel, and they've always supported the community as a whole. They also listen to the community, and they make changes like this in a very short amount of time, or like this, because they've got a place on their website for the community to send in mods and ideas, and they want to make those knives reality. So hats off them for that. They're my favorite USA made company. I'm going to make you very aware of them if you're not already, because they are great. I think you'd be happy with any of these knives depending on what you were looking for. But do me a favor. I want to say thank you to all the channel members. I do want to say thank you to anyone who's coming in to watch the knife and EDC content. I will ask you, if so inclined, hit that subscribe button down there and that bell notification icon. If you would, hit that thumbs up button. But most importantly, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your hearts and choose debate, not hate. Peace.